Hello and welcome, my dear students. And, today's session is in continuation with the previous one. In the previous session, we are doing Lord Byron's poem, There is a Pleasure in the Pathless Woods. And in the previous session, we have completed the stanza number 1 and 2. And today we'll be doing stanza number 3 and 4. But before I begin with stanza 3 and 4, I would like to give you a brief recap of the previous stanzas. So, in the first stanza, there is pleasure in the pathless woods. So, in this poem, the poet describes his impressions of the sea. Because sea is also a part of nature and he loves nature. But on this forlorn seashore, he does not feel alone or lonely. His heart is filled with delight and wild ecstasy. Because Byron finds a spiritual companionship in the company of nature, where no one interferes, no one intrudes. So Byron says that he loves nature and he loves men. But the main thing is, he says that I love not men the less, but nature more. That is, he prefers the company of nature more than that of society. In the first paragraph, he expresses these feelings. And in the second paragraph, he addresses the ocean and tries to say that when he compares ocean to the might of men, he says, the sea is mighty and man has no control over the sea. And whenever man tries to control the sea with his fleet of ships, but however great the number of ships may be, the ocean can destroy the sea, destroy the fleet. And on the ocean, whatever destruction is caused, it is the doings of the ocean and not by men. There are no signs of any destruction caused by men, and man appears very insignificant before the ocean. And whenever man wants to outsmart ocean, then ocean also plunges him into an inglorious death, unknelled, uncoffined, and unknown. That is, the might of ocean is much, much larger than the might of men. Man is like a drop in the ocean. So, when compared to nature or when compared to ocean, man is nothing but an insignificant toy for the ocean. So, now we will begin the stanzas 3 and 4. So, first I will read the stanza. His steps are not upon thy paths, thy fields are not a spoil for him. Thou dost arise and shake him from thee, the wild strength he wields, for earth's destruction thou dost all despise, spurning him from thy bosom to the skies, and sendest him shivering in the playful spray, and howling to his gods, where haply his petty hope in some near port or bay, and dashest him again to earth. There let him lay. Now here, in this stanza, again, he is comparing the strength of men with the strength of ocean, as he has done in the previous stanza, stanza number 2. The poet compares the strength of men with the strength of ocean, and he says that his steps are not upon thy paths. He says that he cannot tread on you. His steps cannot be on your paths, because men are very proud of their knowledge and their ability, but they cannot face the power of sea. He may rule over the world, but he can't even walk on you. That is, men can cast ruin on land, But when he is on the sea, he can't even walk on the sea. As we know, we cannot walk on the sea, on water. We cannot walk on water. And thy fields are not a spoil for him. Now, over here, spoil means treasure, booty, or whatever you loot from loot after winning the war. So he says that he can't even step upon you, and your fields are not a spoil for him, they are not a booty for him. Thou dost arise and shake him from thee. That is, you are so powerful that though men have collected enormous strength, he cannot exploit the sea, he cannot steal your treasures. And whenever you want, you shake him from thee. Thee is you, that you shake him. He's addressing the ocean and he's saying that you are so mighty, so powerful, that when you don't want that man to exploit your treasures, you shake him from thee. The vile strength he wields. Now, vile over here is wicked. The wicked strength, because man is very exploitative. He exploits everything. Like on the land, he has exploited the land. He has exploited the mountains, the forests, and the water bodies. So he's saying that the vile strength he wields for earth's destruction, thou dost all despise. So whatever strength he has, he utilizes that strength only on earth. Man uses the strength to destroy the earth. That he has invented terrible weapons and he can destroy the earth. But you hate. Despise means to hate or devalue. You do not like it. For earth, whatever vile strength he wields, that is, vile strength means whatever strength, the wicked strength he has amassed, that weapons, the terrible weapons which can destroy the earth, he has gathered those weapons, but when he comes in contact with you, all his power ends over there. And you despise him, you hate him, or you look down upon him, spurning him. He says, for earth's destruction, thou dost all despise. You despise all that destruction which he has created on earth. And then what you do, spurning him from thy bosom to the skies, that you reject him and you throw him up. You spurn him, you look down upon him, you make fun of him, you make fun of his strength, and then you throw him up from thy bosom to the skies, especially when there are cyclones, when there are very heavy storms. Then what happens? That this ocean becomes so wild during cyclones and all, so it creates havoc, it destroys and it throws away whatever things come on its way, whether it is human being, the man, or the things, and it throws in the skies, from thy bosom to the skies, and sends him shivering in thy playful spray. That he says that man thinks that he is very powerful, but in front of you, he is powerless, and you actually tend to play with him. You play with him, and you send him, excuse me, and you send him shivering in thy playful spray. Spray is a jet of water that he sends him along with the water to the skies, and howling to his gods where haply lies. So he says, like if you remember that when you throw a child in air, छोटे बच्चे को हम हवा में उछालते हैं. So in the beginning the child cries, right? He howls. But once or twice or thrice, when he's very confident that he won't fall down on earth, then of course he enjoys it. But like we throw the child in a playful manner, हम उसको सिर्फ वैसे ही उछालते हैं खेल में. So this man is like a toy for the ocean, and he sends him shivering in thy playful spray, that is in water. When the man is drowning in the water and is thrown up in the sky, he feels cold and he shivers. And he also screams and howls to his gods, that he starts praying to God to save him. Where happily lies. Happily is, the meaning of happily is by chance. It is not happily. Happily is बहुत खुशी से. You are very delighted, where you are happy. But it is where happily lies, that by chance he lies on that ocean. His petty hope in some near port or bay, and dashest him again to earth, there let him lay. Now, he says that you threw him up, and then he keeps praying for the nearby port or bay to arrive. He says he feels that he prays to God that God, please send me to the land as fast as possible, because the ocean gets very wild, and ocean does not show any sympathy or any pity to him for him, and he throws and he almost kills him. So he says that when the ocean throws him up, at that time he feels very scared, and then he prays to God to be near the port or the bay. But what happens is that he does not ocean does not take any pity on him, and he dashes him again to earth, and there let him lay. Now, let him lay actually जहाँ पर वो उसको वहाँ छोड़ देता है, and he let him lay like a doll, जैसे कि एक डॉल खिलौना होता है, तो उसको इस तरह से पटक देता है वो. So what is Byron trying to say? That when he uses this transitive verb lay instead of lie for the sake of rhyme, it gives the effect of pathos to the conclusion of the stanza. That what kind of a treatment does he give to men? So this kind of treatment, this is very insulting, that he throws the men in the sky, and then when he falls down on the earth, he let him lay over there. He let him lie over there. So it is here that when man is now planning to plunder the riches of the ocean with the help of science, but this ocean is inconquerable. It cannot be conquered by men, and ocean does not allow men to overpower him. So here ocean is personified. He is addressing the ocean, and he compares the strength of ocean to that of men, and he finds that man is insignificant as compared to the ocean. That even in stanza second, he has expressed the same feeling, that man is not powerful in front of the mighty ocean. So now let's take up the next stanza. Now let's read the stanza. The armaments which thunder strike the walls of rock-built cities, bidding nations quake and monarchs tremble in their capitals. The oak leviathans, whose huge ribs make their clay creator the vain title take of Lord of Thee, the arbiter of war. These are the toys, and as the snowy flake, they melt into the yeast of waves, which mar alike the Armada's pride or spoils of Trafalgar. Now armaments, let me give you some words meanings for these. The armaments are the weapons which thunder strike the walls. That we can easily destroy the walls, even of the forts, by the weapons, by the which thunderstrike, which destroy even the strong walls of rock-built cities. The cities which have been built by rocks, especially in older times, the cities or the forts, they were built by rocks, stone. Now the building material is different nowadays, but before it was built by stone and they were rocky. Bidding nations quake and monarchs tremble in their capitals. Now, here he says that whichever country had more powerful weapons, that country ruled over other countries. So, at bidding nations quake, that whichever country which had more of the armaments, and the other nations used to shiver in the fear of that nation, and monarchs tremble in their capitals, that the powerful country had the power to shake or tremble the monarchs of the other weaker nations. The oak leviathans, whose huge ribs make their clay creator the vain title take. Now here, Leviathan is actually a sea monster referred to in the Bible, but here it is used for big ships. That, as we know, the ships are very huge. They have different kinds of compartments. They are very huge, and these huge ships, they sail on ocean. So he says that oak leviathans, whose huge ribs make their clay creator the vain title take of Lord of Thee. So he's saying that when man creates huge, large ships, and when these ships sail on the bosom of the ocean, man feels that he has overpowered the ocean, and he has won the ocean, and he is more powerful than the ocean, because the huge ribs. Now, ribs is actually the structure of the ship, like we have in human beings. They have the rib cage or the skeleton. So this skeleton is later covered by like bones and flesh. The skeleton is covered by muscle and flesh and skin. So similarly, when these ships also, they have the basic structure. The structure is like a rib cage or the ribs or a skeleton of the ship, and then later it is covered by all the frills and all whatever, and then the structure is actually invisible, and you see only the outer beauty of the ships. So he says, and when man creates these ships, so he feels that I am the creator, like God is the creator of everyone. So man also feels that I am the creator of these ships, and he starts to think that he is become very powerful, and he takes the title of the creator or Lord of Thee. He says that the oak leviathans, whose huge ribs make their clay creator the vain title take. Vain title, he takes the title, he is very proud of the title, and he feels that he have become the Lord of Thee, that he has become your Lord, your master, that he has mastered you. He does not know that these are just like toys. These ships are like toys for the ocean, but when man creates these toys, these ships, he feels that he has won, he has become the Lord of the ocean, an arbiter of war, that he is a decisive force of the war, that men feel that I have won the war or I have lost the war, especially, but he does not know that ocean also plays a very, very major role in winning or losing the war. These are the toys. What are these? These are the ships. He feels that man feels that he has mastered the ocean by making these ships float on it. But for the ocean, these are just like toys. These are the toys, and as the snowy flake, they melt into the yeast of waves. He says that these are the small, small toys. And these toys, they seem to melt into the ocean. If ocean becomes very fierce and rough, all these ships, they get wrecked and they get drowned and submerged in the ocean. As the snowy flake. Now what is a snowy flake? Flake होता है बहुत पतला सा कोई भी ऐसा किसी भी चीज़ को ऐसे पिचका के और एकदम पतला कर दिया जाता है. दैट इज़ अ फ्लेक. लाइक यू हैव कॉर्न फ्लेक्स, है ना, कॉर्न को एकदम ठोक के प्रेस करके एंड इट इज़ कन्वर्टेड इनटू वेरी वेरी थिन पीस. सो दीज स्नोई फ्लेक्स एंड द स्नो जो है, बर्फ़ है, उसका भी फ्लेक्स होते हैं छोटे छोटे. समटाइम्स यू हैव दिस फ्लेक्स, स्पेशली इफ़ यू सी इन द फ्रिज, रेफ्रिजरेटर में यू कैन सी, जो रेफ्रिजरेटर का जो फ्रीज़र होता है उसके ऊपर बहुत पतली सी लेयर बन जाती है आइस की. एंड व्हेन यू ब्रेक इट एंड पुट इट इन वाटर, इट जस्ट मेल्ट्स इनटू इट, melts in water, and it is invisible. So he's saying, he's comparing that these ships, they are also like these flakes, and they get submerged and they are invisible. They melt into the yeast of waves. Yeast of waves. Yeast क्या होता है? Yeast is actually a substance which makes which is used to make breads, and it swells the breads, softens the bread. Yeast का हिंदी में इसको बोलते हैं खमीर. खमीर जो उठता है, और जो समुद्र में जब झाग होते हैं बहुत सारे, दूर से अगर आप लोगों ने कभी समुद्र देखा हो तो उसमें बहुत सारे सफ़ेद सफ़ेद सा कुछ तैरता रहता है, एंड दैट इज़ द यीस्ट. इट लुक्स लाइक अ यीस्ट, इट इज़ नॉट एग्जैक्टली यीस्ट, वो खमीर नहीं होता है, बट ऑल दैट फ्रॉथ, it seems like yeast, and that these ships, they get submerged in that yeast. They melt into the yeast of waves, which mar alike Armada's pride or spoils of Trafalgar. Now, I would like to first explain to you what is Armada and what is Armada's pride. Armada's pride is actually, Armada was a fleet of ships of Spain. King Philip of Spain actually had attacked England in 1558, and that fleet was named Armada. And Philip had called this fleet as invincible, that is, कोई इसको हरा नहीं सकता है. But the stormy winds scattered it in all the directions, because this ship was a very huge fleet. बहुत ये जहाजी बेड़ा था, बहुत सारी शिप्स थी, एंड दिस वाज वन ऑफ द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट फ्लीट, एंड स्पेन वाज रूलिंग एट दैट टाइम, वाज रूलिंग द ओशन and other countries also. And during the war with England, what happened? The storm became very fierce and it was unfavorable to the Spanish fleet, and England won the war. English fleet was very small, but the winds were favorable, the ocean was favorable, the water was favorable for England. So this huge strong fleet Armada, the Spanish Armada, it was defeated by England. Similarly, or the spoils of Trafalgar. Now Trafalgar is actually a bay, and England had won the war under the command of Nelson in 1805 with Napoleon, and England wanted to bring the loot or the booty from that war, but sea was not very calm, sea was not favorable for England. So in spite of winning the war, it could not bring the spoils of Trafalgar. Spoils over here means the whatever booty they could bring from the defeated nation or from the defeated party. So they could not bring that spoils to England. That is, what does he mean to say is that whichever country wins the war, it is not that country itself which has won the war, but it is actually the ocean which has helped the country to win the war by creating favorable conditions. And the country which has lost the war, the ocean was against that country. So that is why it has lost the war. That is, men feel that they are the arbiters of the war. That is, हम जीतते हैं war, हमने युद्ध जीता. But it is not true. It is actually the will of the ocean which makes the country win the war. So who is the real arbiter? कौन है decisive force? The arbiter, judge. कौन है इसका हार का और जीत का? It is the ocean itself. So here Byron is saying that ocean is powerful. Man thinks that he is powerful, but when compared to ocean, man is insignificant, and all his power ends at the shore, that he cannot even walk on water. That when he makes ships, and then when the ships move on the bosom of the ocean, and man takes the title that he has become the lord of the ocean. So this is, you can say, he feels that he is the master, but ocean does not accept that mastery, and he shows him that what power ocean has, the mighty power ocean shows to the human beings. So I hope you have understood these first 4 stanzas, and I have posted the notes of this on the WhatsApp, so you go through it. It is a very long poem, but slowly and steadily we will complete this poem. It is a beautiful poem, the nature poem, and you just look at the praise which Lord Byron is giving, and the respect which Lord Byron is giving to ocean and the nature itself. So this is all for today. Thank you for your patient listening, and we will meet again soon with another stanzas. Thank you.